How many people are familiar with the Laken Riley Act? This act recently passed. House and the Senate, let's talk about it. Let's understand it. And I want to show to you, my job in this video, I want to prove to you, if you're a skeptic, the reason why this became an act that's now going to Donald Trump's desk, which will be the first law he signs as president number 47, will be because of the Democrats. The Democrats gave him this wrapped with a bow, with a nice little thank you note on it. Dear Trump, no hard feelings.
A horrible tragedy in your state. I don't need to tell you. Laken Riley, a 22-year-old Augusta University nursing student, she was bludgeoned to death last month while on a run on the UGA campus. The suspect is an undocumented immigrant from Venezuela who was released after crossing the border illegally, had a criminal record in New York, was still a free person. Biden mentioned her during his speech Thursday night, pushed to do so by a Georgia Republican. Take a listen.
Not really. Laken Riley, an innocent young woman who was killed by an illegal. That's right. But how many of the thousands of people being killed by illegals? To her parents, I say, my heart goes out to you, having lost children myself.
At his rally last night, Trump met with Laken Riley's family. He blamed Biden's border policies for her death. The Rileys are your constituents. Is it not true that there were policy failures that led to this tragic murder?
Listen, first of all, let me just say that my heart goes out to this family, the family of Laken Riley. And I can tell you, as a pastor who has done hundreds of eulogies and presided over all kinds of funerals, there is no grief worse than when nature is tragically reversed, and rather than the children burying the parents have to bury the children. And so it's unfortunate that in this moment of grief, there are those who are trying to score cheap political points.
This is going to be important later, because what we have here is we have a senator from Georgia, Raphael Warnock, kicking the ball down the court. He's not even dribbling the ball. He's kicking it down the court. Or maybe he's picking it up and running with it. He's not dribbling the ball. He's not playing the ball. He's not even in the game. He's changing the subject, and he's saying this is a politically motivated thing. Nah, man, if your child is murdered the way that Laken Riley was, you don't want to hear no bullshit about, oh, well, this is being used as politics. You're glad it's being used as politics. Did you say it was used as politics when Breonna Taylor's story hit the news? You say this is being used as politics. Did you say that about George Floyd? Oh, my God, this is being used as politics. See, either all talks of murders, no matter who did them, or fair game, or no talks of murder or fair game. You understand what I'm saying? You can't say some should be talked about and others can't. So I got a problem with that. And that's not because we want to rock with Tim Scott or Byron Donalds or Candace Owens. It's because that's just simple logic. That's only being reasonable. So Laken Riley's life was cut short by someone who should have never been in this country, and a person who was in this country who had committed crimes that they were not doing time for and they were not put out. So this is a problem. But he can't say it's a problem because, well, that would be pointing the finger at Joe Biden. And we don't want to do that. We see what's happening there. Mayor Eric Adams over there in New York for talking. Got indictments crawling all over. So that's the first thing the Democrats did that was wrong. They did not acknowledge, not just that death is wrong or sad or tragic, but that, yeah, we should do a better job at this. Sometimes you got to say, this needs improvement. This is how the Laken Riley Act was born. This birthday was this reaction by the Democrats to not believe water is wet and their grass is green and the sky is blue, and that nachos are delicious. This is why we're where we're at. This is why it just passed the House of the Senate, because this is how Democrats react. Let's keep going.
The border must be secured. We know this. there's agreement about that on both sides, which is why we had a bipartisan piece of legislation before us just a matter of weeks ago.
Anybody with any common sense in America knows that for 3.5 years there was no legislation in front of us, that this legislation that he's talking about had a bunch of add-ins thrown together 3.5 years into a presidency where estimate 10 to 14 to 20 million migrants crossed because Biden wanted them to. And this guy was already here. So whatever you're talking about that you wanted to get done at the last minute before the election, actually 5 months before the election, after you reversed all the executive orders Trump had put in place to slow the flow of migrants across the southern border, Biden comes in, reverses all of them, just like Trump is reversing policies right now. Biden reversed policies that had the border on lock. Those reversal of policies caused a flood of immigrants. The killer of Laken Riley was one of them. Reside in Mexico was one of the laws or one of the orders that Trump had in place that said if you want to come to America, you can't come in America and wait for your number to be called. You got to wait in Mexico to come over here. Fast forward, folks. This thing has momentum, it has legs. AOC is going to respond to it. Let's listen to her reason and her rationale behind why the Laken Riley Act should not go into effect.
Mr. Speaker, I want the American people to know with eyes wide open what is inside this bill. Because we stand here just 2 days after President Trump gave unconditional pardons to violent criminals who attacked our nation's capital on January 6th.
See, I got a huge problem with this. This is another reason why the Democratic Party sucks. You mean you want to compare January 6ers who were pardoned to Venezuelan gang members who bludgeoned to death a young woman while trying to take her cupcakes? Really? That's what we're doing? You do know some of the J6ers were grandmas. You know, there are J6s that didn't even go to the Capitol. You're going to say Trump is letting people out? So how dare he want to stop killers who are illegally here? This doesn't even make sense to regular people. Regular people that aren't indoctrinated into the so-called progressive or liberal thing would never agree with this. You're comparing apples to dinosaurs. One's not even a food group. When the Democrats play these types of games, when they attempt to gaslight Americans, they fail. And they show that they don't respect. They don't respect the people that they want to get votes from. They don't respect their constituents. They don't respect the voters. They don't respect their constituents. And they play loose, fast and loose with reality. The January 6ers is a separate incident, a separate thing. Hey, January 6ers who were violent, I don't think they should have been pardoned. I'm on the record. Hey, my hands are clean. If you were violent, see, here, this is how I am. If you committed a nonviolent crime, I don't think you should be in jail. I say that for almost everyone, okay? But particularly about January 6th. That's my opinion, I'm sticking to it. If Trump let out some that were violent, that's on him. That's a bad thing. That should not have happened. But you don't compare that to a murderer. But AOC is on rocky ground right now because she's conflating things that don't match. And at one time, she showed like she was going to be the leader of the Democrats, the leader of the dingbats. Man, I fixed it.
And these are the people who want you to believe, who want us to believe that they're trying to, quote unquote, keep criminals off the streets. When they are opening the floodgates.
Opening the floodgates? This is a time for you to just walk off into the sun like a vampire who ain't supposed to be out in the sunlight, AOC. I mean, damn. This is opening the floodgates. You mean letting out some January 6ers, most of which had no criminal histories? That's what you mean? That's opening the floodgates to Hades? Talk about gaslighting the American people. Where'd you go to school? Who'd you go to school with? Willie D? Who was your teacher, Willie D? He was your professor? The Willie D School of Politics and Sociology. Ghetto boys, ghetto boys. All right.
American people to know what is in this bill. Because in the guise and in the wake of tragedy, we are seeing a fundamental erosion of our civil rights in this bill.
Hold up, a fundamental erosion of our civil rights. If you're not an American citizen, do you have civil rights? Just I know I'm being petty, right? Being petty. If you're in this country and you break in this country, you ain't in this country legally, meaning you shouldn't be here. Who the hell let you in here? Okay, you're in this country illegally. You didn't get permission to be here. When you get civil rights? Get out of here. You don't got civil rights if you're not here legally. So this bill is not for people that are here legally, right? 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 If you're not a citizen, if you're a citizen of the United States, you have citizens' rights as a United States citizen. I couldn't go to Sweden and get Sweden civil rights without being a Sweden citizen, right? So what are you even talking about? Don't you have a degree? Don't you have a staff? Why are you making things up?
If a person is so much as accused of a crime, if someone wants to point a finger,
not a person, a particular kind of person. Not all Latino people either. Be clear. Latino people who are not citizens, who don't have their paperwork. Right? Right? Okay, that's different. A lot of black people went to jail this week because they had warrants. Right? I'm black, but I don't have any warrants that I know about. When you black, you got to always qualify. Like, I did not know of. So, like, but there are black guys who got warrants. And some of them were in a traffic stop maybe earlier today. And when somebody was just going to take their child to the daycare or something, they got pulled over and they found out they got a warrant. They went to jail. They were separated from their families as they go through the process. Right? This is that all black people. This is that black person who had a warrant. So when an undocumented person, an illegal alien, or whatever you call it, say you got to say illegal alien now. The vernacular changes under different administrations. If you're not a citizen and you get pulled over, you have a warrant in most cases. Same thing. It's not the same thing. You can't conflate it and say, everybody, if a person, you ain't talking to white people. You're not talking to white people that are American citizens, are you? Are you talking to black people that are American citizens? Are you talking to Asian people that are American citizens? So when you say people, us, you're not talking about us. Or you're talking about her people. See, this is why I'm saying, guys, we got to stay on our square on this. They use tricky language. So I didn't court AOC in 3 whoppers. 3. And I'm not in Congress. All you got to do is slow down, stop her ass, and then talk about what she said. That's all you have to do.
and accuse someone of shoplifting, they will be rounded up and put into a private detention camp and sent out for deportation without a day in court.
You can't deport people that are from here. Just saying. Hey, man, look. Hey, look, man. I gotta say this. We gotta have some privileges as being citizens of this country. You know, we pay a lot in taxes. My dad served. My cousin died in the U.S. military on maneuvers. He died on the damn maneuvers. I was a kid like, damn. I didn't even know what was going on. I just knew my cousin Ricky was dead. Everybody was crying. We should get something for our citizenship in this country. AOC will have you believe we deserve nothing, not even rights above people that aren't citizens in our country. No other country operates this way. You understand? No one does it better.
Without a moment to assert their right and without a moment to assert the privilege of innocent until proven guilty.
Once again, if you're not a citizen, guess what you don't have? Citizens' rights. Let's go to Rashida Tlaib. Let's see if she does a better job.
Enough is enough. It will separate families. It would lead again to continued discrimination. It's shameful that my colleagues are giving into racist fear-mongering at the first opportunity.
I can't stand this argument. It will separate families. I hate this argument because, folks, as I've gone over time and time again, whenever someone in America gets arrested for anything, guess what happens to them? They get separated from their family. When was the last time anybody that you know got locked up, they got to take their family with them? I'm just asking. Because Rashida Tlaib is talking like when Americans get locked up, they get to, take everybody with them. Our children don't end up in the foster care system if there's nobody there to take care of them because of what? Family separation. Why is it that you expect people who are not American citizens to get treated better than us? It's not the intention. The government's not going, ooh, let's separate these kids from these people. Yeah, at least I hope not. I hope not. I hear theories out there. But it is a byproduct of the way our system works. It is painful, harsh and cruel, cold, defiantly against humanity. That's what it is. But guess what? Happens to us all, except the rich. And this same statements that you can make about everyone. But I don't hear those arguments being made. Black people are still 4 times more likely to be locked up for the same crimes that white people commit every day. White people and black people still do drugs at the same margin. But we're 4 times more likely to go to jail for it. Why? Because we're 4 times more likely to be stopped. Charlie Kirk, talking to you, Goofy. So look, what Rashida Tlaib said is extremely, extremely annoying because it don't make no damn sense.
Opportunity to pass legislation to scapegoat our immigrant neighbors and fuel hate in our communities. I know what's going to happen. It won't just be undocumented. It'll be people like my mother who will get stopped and profiled. She have to carry her.
Sound like she talking about racial profiling that's been happening to Negro. Sound like she talking about things that have been happening to black people for the last, 100 years. Interesting. Saying it with such passion to her whole chest. I'm not saying that I'm not saying I want those people to go through that. But it's America. That's what happens. You ain't here illegally. You break into my house, you ain't entitled to nothing. That's like saying if you break into my house, I have to cook you dinner. Really? I have to cook you dinner and give you a place to sleep. That don't make no damn sense. And I'm supposed to feed you before I feed my family. Now, maybe if you're a guest and I invited you in, but if I didn't invite you in and you don't have my permission to be here, why are you afforded such rights as privileges? What are you even talking about, Tlaib? And what has your mama got to do with it? I hope your mama would just show her ID and we'd be good. Right? Ain't that how it's supposed to work? If our police overstep their bounds and treat your mother in any type of way other than, ma'am, can we see your ID? Based on XYZ, then may they go to jail and may you get a fat reward check. Because that ain't how it's supposed to operate. Why are you trying to scare everybody into this? Little Latino kids going to school should not be accosted. And if they are, there should be consequences for racial profiling. This is a whole other issue that needs to be addressed. I'm not saying there isn't some merit to that point of it. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is there's a lot of gaslighting going on. Grandma, show her your ID. And if he touch you one more time, we file a lawsuit. That's what you say. Stop acting like they're going to gun your grandmother down. And she going to get shipped off to someplace she ain't been at, that she hasn't been to. She's an American citizen. She don't get shipped anywhere. You know, maybe Chi-Chi's, but nowhere else.
Our U.S. passport around? Are we asking people allowed to have documentation?
Yeah, it's called ID. You damn right be asking them if they have. It's all the time. That's what stop and frisk was. What are we? Am I in bizarro world? We asking people to have documentation? Yeah. Give us your social security number. You know, if they pull you over and you don't have your ID, they ask for other stuff, they look that stuff up. If it don't match you, they can hold you. This is everybody. Now you're saying that people that are here illegally will have no right to be here, that they have no right to be asked who the hell they are, where they come from. How do they catch criminals? Telekinesis? I'm just saying, we're going, I don't approve of all the hoop jumping you want people to do. This ain't Minority Report. You know, people don't have strange feelings, lay in tubs, stare at the sky and conjure in their mind and know where crimes are. They find out by, going into neighborhoods and harassing black people. Had to keep it real. Because Rashida won't. Damn, I thought Rashida was going to do a better job than AOC.
That's what you want to turn our neighborhoods into, is militarization?
I yield the gentlelady an additional 30 seconds.
Gentlelady is recognized.
I just ask all of you to truly understand what this will do to our communities.
What will it do, Rashida? Bring it home.
I urge our colleagues to please vote no on this divisive bill. And it's so important to understand what you're going to turn our communities and our neighborhoods into. We can't allow that to continue to happen. With that, I yield.
First of all, just the moment, but also on the term he used, illegal. There's been some backlash among some in his own party for using that term.
Look, it was.
See, this is my other point I wanted to make. This is part and parcel why the Democratic Party lost. People say all these things, it was this, it was that. The sun don't shine right. Somebody wore the wrong color blazer. All types of reasons. Roland Martin's bald spot. All these different reasons. At the end of the day, a lot of the policies just stink. And America wasn't on board with them. And there wasn't anything you could do about it. But also there's this. There's this segment. This is an example of what I'm talking about. Joe Biden said, hey, Laken Riley. He had it on the card. He knew people were going to say something, or he anticipated it. And he was right there. Yeah, I know about Laken Riley, just a poor woman who was murdered by an illegal. Democrats were so mad that Biden called somebody who's broken the law to be in our country, who killed a woman, an illegal. They went after Biden instead of the guy that committed the murder. What kind of a taste did that leave in voters' mouths who were kind of deciding, did they want to go with Trump or did they want to go with Kamala and Biden? I mean, just imagine it. They made Biden the bad guy. Not that he's not a bad guy. I got no problems with that. But just because he called a killer illegal who just killed somebody, he's the bad guy? It's not like he called him the N-word. I'm trying to figure it out. But see, the Democrats are dingbats, and they're stuck on stupid. This is not how normal people behave. Most people be like, call that killer whatever you want. A reasonable person be like, call the killer whatever you want. I don't give a damn what you call him. He's lucky he alive to face charges. Not the Democrats. They started a movement and a whole big shebang about the word illegal.
It's clear being in the chamber last night that there were those on the extreme Republican Party who were trying to bait the president into responding to whatever heckle they were offering. It's unfortunate that the president used that language. I don't believe that is the language that he believes in his heart about immigrant people who find their way to this country to make a better life for themselves.
You heard it right. She's apologizing for Joe. That's not what he meant. He didn't mean illegal. He just meant here unlawfully, which is a synonym for illegal. You know, there are people who get offended when you even say illegal. It's the same word. Okay, let's keep going. So we know what happened from that. We do understand what occurred from all that great work the Democrats have done. Yeah. The House passes the Laken Riley Act. Let's hear about it.
Just passed the House. It's going to be the first bill of President Trump's tenure, his second administration. It just passed the House literally moments ago. An example of how a single horrific crime can resonate all the way to the highest echelons of power. The House finished voting on the Laken Riley Act just moments ago. 46 Democrats joined 217 Republicans in passing it. It is a bill that ensures criminal illegal immigrants can be detained, no matter how small the crime they are accused of. The bill is named after a 22-year-old student who was brutally murdered while jogging on the University of Georgia campus last February.
This bill requires the government to detain people who pose no risk to our communities. It's a shameful bill that will result in the violent detention of innocent people and children.
You said that the people committed no crime other than maybe shoplifting. And I get that, man, and this is an unfortunate thing, and I just want to keep it real with you. That would suck if you're here illegally, without permission, haven't gone through the proper process, but are here and unlucky enough to get caught up because somebody thinks they see you take a pack of gum. That would be a horrible thing. That would be bad. I would feel like, damn, that's that cool. But that would not negate the fact that you weren't supposed to be here in the first place. That does not remove the reality that you are already breaking said law by being here. You gonna have a border or not? I think this goes too far. But this is what happens when a young white girl gets bludgeoned to death by a Venezuelan guy who shouldn't have been in the country. It gets used, frankly, it gets used against other people. That's what happens. And when the Democrats don't say, this could be bad for us, let's get out in front of it, let's mitigate the damage, let's admit this sucks. Instead, you try to boo-hoo it away, you try to label people that bring it up racist, well, then you get the worst case scenario. And that's what happens. You created the worst case scenario for yourselves and for the country and for the people that you say you're defending by playing it like it wasn't a big deal, like it was nothing. Policing language instead of policing the actual killer. That was a horrible way to play this. So at the end of the day, yes, I believe it is an overreach. I'm going to go there, I'm going to say, yeah, I think it's an overreach. It's overreach, but it's caused by the Democrats. You made it happen. Well, they made it happen. The Democrats made it happen by not reacting reasonably It's something that was easy to call, easy to see. They weren't going to let this go. Sort of like DEI. They ain't going to let it go. Okay? That's what I wanted to show you. Notice something about this picture. And I wanted you to go ahead and notice something about the picture. These are the 12 Democrats who voted for the Laken Riley Act at the time. Notice the bottom row. Third from the left. Who's that? Senator Raphael Warnock. Yeah, Senator Raphael Warnock. Also, Ossoff. Yeah, Ossoff, the other senator from Georgia. Why did both of them vote for this Republican-led bill? I'll tell you why. They like to stay senators, that's why. Because I'm right, and because the people of Georgia feel the same way I feel about this. Reasonable. The Democrats were wrong. Warnock and Ossoff had to save their own hides. They did the only thing they could do, which is vote for this bill. That's a strong point. So, yeah. And you also see Fetterman. You see Fetterman. Fetterman want to be a Republican so bad. Fetterman may come out being, God, I can't, for lack of a better term, Joe Lieberman, I don't know. He's going to come out being the right-hand man to the Republican president. I don't know. Let's see where we at.
Pictures of her on the screen right now. But go back to the opposition to this bill. The opposition centers around the fact that you don't have to even be charged with a crime. You just have to be accused. Someone can just say, he stole the Snickers, to use your example.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The language of the bill says that if you have been arrested for something, which doesn't mean that you have committed any crime, it's far from being convicted of a crime, but the argument goes that if you're in the country illegally,
you've already broken the law.
You're in the country illegally.
Yeah.
It's a good day.
Yeah. Exactly how I feel, exactly how it's been interpreted. And it's hard to make a case otherwise because, yeah, it's a law, it's against the law to not be going through the process. And here goes Johnson signing it.
I'm going to sign slowly, they tell me, so I can.
Yeah. So, folks, let me know what you think about this particular segment. I mean, it's not perfect, but this is what the Democratic Party has done to themselves. They could have handled this better. I see this as arrogance on the Democrats' part in lack of being in touch with reality, so to speak, you know, because this was kind of clear this wasn't going to go away. Have you seen pictures of Laken Riley? Did you see her family at the trial? Jesus Christ, man. There were 5 white women in one picture all crying at the same time. And we got this illegal immigrant who beat her to death. Yeah. Patrice O'Neal would have told you this one. He could have called this one in 2 seconds. Shout out to the GOAT. The Democratic Party brought this on themselves, and now this will be the first law that Trump signs into law. First bill he signs into law, and it is what it is.